Since the last video, I've cleaned up the back, taken all that bark off. I've relaxed the sideways bend at the grip a little more just to correct the string line a bit more, narrowed the tips hugely, put on tip overlays, but before that I just put a tiny bit of, well, not reflex, I took out the ugly little bit of deflex that was on each tip. But I'll give you a better walk around that once you've seen it on the tiller, assuming it doesn't explode. But I think I've had it quite close to, well, I certainly had it to 40, and I've had it close to 28-inch draw. Right, that's £30. Now we're 40 at 26. I think that'll do for now, because it's actually looking like the right limb is finally slightly on the weak side. So that was about 41. That's really good at 26. So I think we can say we're there really. You'll also notice, you see, when it's braced, that limb looks weak, but it's this deflex here that's doing it. So that's the top tip, just buffed up quickly. I haven't taken all the tool marks off the belly or anything yet, but it was a quick clean up so that we could have a proper look at it. So there you can see string line's good, but it actually runs, you know, outside of the limb here, which is quite nice. So it's very much a character bow really. You can see how much I've slimmed the tips. Pith line showing there right at the tip, which is quite interesting. A little bit of sapwood showing on the belly, which looks cool. Something I've done to get the upper limb moving a bit more. We saw it was bending here early on when it popped the bark off, but it was still very thick here. The temptation's to leave it very thick because of the knots, but I just eased the fade off here a bit more just to get a bit more movement. Of course, one of the questions is, how can you make a bow from such an ugly stick and have it work? Well, there's a couple of answers to that. The first one is it's yew, and yew is a brilliant wood for making bows. The second is that I chose the face of the bow carefully. So if you look along the back, despite it being a bent ugly stick, it's remarkably clean. So upper limb's almost perfect till we get to there. And of course we put that at a non-bending section, it doesn't really matter too much. You'll see I've smoothed off around some of the knots. Then if we move on to the other limb, we'll see again it's very clean. We get to there's a couple of pins, but they're nothing drastic. There's some big knots, but they were coming off the side and they've almost disappeared off the belly. Similarly, we get to here, still relatively clean down the middle. Big knot either side. Well, they're not that big. That one popping through there, so it's actually a relatively clean stave. I've narrowed, you can see I've narrowed the tip a lot now. The other problems we had to deal with were the deflex and weird shape sideways. Well, all right, I sorted it out with dry heat, steam and a lot of perseverance. And yeah, okay, it's not the sort of thing a novice could have undertaken, but it just shows what a bit of yew will do. When I finish up tidying it up and, you know, put some Danish oil on it, that's actually going to be a very nice character bow. I've just eased this off a little bit. There was a thin point there, you can probably see it. I put the verniers on and they wouldn't move this way, so I just eased off from about there to there. Similarly a thick point there, so I've just eased that off a tad, which should help let that left tip move a bit more. I haven't really given it a lot of exercise. That's not made a lot of difference. There's 27. Well, there's 28, yeah. Oh, it's nearer 50 at 28. But at least I'll take it to 28 that I promised. Well, that I aimed for. You'll see what I mean about the string actually. It's centred at either tip and at the grip, but the string line actually runs outside the limb there. I hope that's been of some use to people, and it's one that's virtually shown all the tips and tricks I do. Anyhow, do leave a comment. I do like the comments. It just sort of keeps me enthusiastic and encourages me to post more videos. Subscribe if you like, link it to your mates. Have a cup of tea.